going to start by removing this push clip here, press in on the center, and then pop out the whole push clip. That's how you unlock it. Then over here on the door handle, the little cap that you can open, and there's a Phillips head screw right behind it. Remove that. There we go. And then to actually remove this door handle bezel here, you have to take a little screwdriver, a pry tool, stick it right in between the lock and the bezel itself, and pry up, basically up and over to release it, and then do the same thing on the bottom, but go down. And then remove this. Now I'm going to remove this master window switch. I'm going to use a little screwdriver to help me get my pry tool up in here, or underneath it I should say. I don't want to scratch or damage anything. Pry up on it, lift it up and out, and on the back side you'll notice an electrical connector. And press on the release tab, wiggle it, and remove that. Next, we're going to move on to the door handle pocket here. There we go. One side's coming up, perfect. Now that one side is up, the other side popped out. Basically you're just fighting these two clips here. They're pretty strong. So set that aside, and right behind this you'll find an anchor bolt for your door. So remove that with a Phillips head. Just make sure you don't lose it inside the door. I guess you could always get it after, but here it is. Now we can go around the door, double check that there isn't anything else, which there isn't on this particular vehicle. With the same plastic pry tool, I'm going to try and stick it right behind the door panel here. And hopefully I can pop out all the push clips that hold this door in. You can hear it's kind of coming out of place, which is perfect. There we go. Feels like there's another push clip right here. Yep, that was it. That's the last one. Before this door panel can come off completely, there's this corner piece here. This needs to get pried off. There we go. Remove that. And now you can just take the door panel, lift it, make sure it clears the handle. Don't pull it too far because you still have a wire here, which is for this light underneath. So press on the connector and just disconnect it. There we go. Now you can set this aside. Next, let's remove this vapor barrier, peel it off. Be careful when you touch this stuff because it's super sticky, and if you do happen to get it on your clothing, well, it's almost impossible to get back off. So just be careful. Peel the plastic up and out of the way enough to access the window regulator through this hole. You don't have to take it off all the way. So this is good right here. I'm just gonna set it to the side and tuck it underneath these wires so it stays. Now let's roll the window down if yours isn't already. Now with the ignition on and your window switch plugged back in, let's roll the window down, and you want to go down until you see this bolt here that holds the regulator onto the window, and the other one will be on this side, so we'll have to take the speaker out, but I'm just going to approximately line it up right there. There we go. Let's unplug the window switch and turn the ignition off. Now let's unplug the speaker wire, press on this locking tab, and pull it up. And with a 10mm, remove all three of the screws that hold this on. And remove the speaker. There we go. There's this other bolt. So at this point, with the same 10mm socket, let's loosen up this bolt. Okay. At this point, you can pull the window up and off of the regulator. And I prefer to just take the window out. So you twist it, turn it to the side, and very carefully remove it. Or you can bring it up and just tape it to the door here, but taking it out is better because you can set it aside somewhere safe. Let's unplug the window motor. There's a little tab here that you have to press. There we go. Remove that, and more 10mm bolts. Remove all of them. Last one is right up here. This one you don't have to remove all the way, just loosen it up. Then you can take the regulator and motor assembly, slide this up, back, and it should fall right out. And then you can take it out through this opening here. All right, there it is. Now let's separate the old motor off of the old regulator. Now with a T25, let's remove these 3 screws that hold the motor onto the regulator. Now line up the motor, and if for some reason it doesn't want to line up because the gear in here doesn't line up with the splines, just move this arm a little bit. Hopefully it'll fall into place. Nope, still no. Okay, move a little more. Oh, there we go, right there. So start in the 3 bolts. There's 1, 2, and 3. Let's snug them up. All right, let's get this back inside of the door. Now let's take the regulator and motor together, slide them in through this opening. All right, there's 1. That helps because now this whole thing can pivot on that one. Let's line up the second. Now bring up the motor part of it, and that will line up with all of these. So now I'm going to line up the connector right there, and once that's in, you can grab onto the regulator here and just turn it, and all of a sudden all the other bolt holes should line up. So start in the bolts. Once you have one in, you can let go. Start them all on, then we'll snug them up. All right, now they're all started. Let's tighten them up. Now grab your window, slide it down and into the door gently, and make sure that it actually slides into the rubber piece here. This is the window track, and if it's offset a little bit, well, it won't really roll up and down very easily. Same on this side. Just like that. Once you get down here, you'll notice this hole is where you put the bolt through, but it actually needs to go, the threads need to go through that hole. Perfect, right there. Let's get the 2 bolts back in. And this one, looks like I'll have to adjust the window a little bit because I can't really get a tool in here. Okay, let's snug both of these up. Make sure they're tight, but again, these are small, so don't go too tight because you can break them. Okay, perfect. At this point, I'd like to test it before I go further, so let's plug the window back in. Make sure that clicks. Let's get the window switch, plug it in, turn the ignition on. Now, before the window goes in, let's test it. I have my key in the on position in the ignition and the switch plugged in. Roll it up and back down. Now let's get this vapor barrier back in place. Slide your wire through this opening here and stick this back on. Hopefully it still sticks. If not, you can use some tape to reattach it. Let's get the speaker in, line it up, plug it in, start in all your bolts, snug them up. Don't go too tight because these just go into plastic. right, let's get the door panel on. Grab your door panel, reconnect this light down there. Feed your wire through for the window switch to make sure it doesn't get stuck behind the door panel. Now take your door panel and you actually want to hook it up and over this lip here. You'll feel once it falls into place. There we go, right there. Make sure your wire's still good. And now snap in all the push clips that go around. Let's get this main anchor bolt for the door. Thread it on, snug it up. Let's get the window switch connected. And when you slide it in the back first, and then up at the top. Let's put in this door handle bezel. Make sure it hooks in at the front first. There we go. And press it onto the back side. Make sure it locks into both top and bottom locks. And then let's put in this screw that holds it on. Tighten it up. Close up this little door to hide it. Let's put in this triangle piece on the corner here. Make sure it snaps in and locks in place. Perfect. This push clip, to install it, you have to push the middle out, slide it in, press it flush, and there you go.